at the time, I didn't know what archons meant. But I had a very strong sense that this word was important and that I needed to find out what it meant. So off I went to the internet and I looked it up. And I, like a lot of people, came across the work of John Lash, who talks about the hypostasis of the archons, which is part of the Nag Hammadi materials. And he also mentioned an account given by Don Juan Matus via Carlos Castaneda that's in a chapter called Mud Shadows from his posthumously published book called The Active Side of Infinity. How they operate, and I eventually became convinced that this is actually what has happened to us, that we've been deviated by these mind parasites. Now, once this information started coming to light, a lot of people started contributing their own ideas to the subject, and many of them have, in my opinion, veered wildly off course and really distorted the information. Including John Lash. Okay, so one of the things that people are doing is they're associating the archons with physical aliens, and that doesn't agree with the Gnostic texts, and it certainly doesn't agree with what
This is a Morgellons spore that was cultured in a dish 28 days later. Now I can see a face, it almost looks like a dragon with sort of a Star Trek tail on it. The round thing at the bottom, you'll see it now. I've added some effects so that can kind of get the idea of the dragon and so on and so forth. Give it a bit of drama. The drama is that alien nanotech has invaded humans throughout history. I don't think there's ever been a time where we haven't been full of alien nanotech. In other words, aliens are flying their spaceships around inside you. They're in control of your brain and your body, and in fact they're talking to each other via some kind of subspace transmitters that they set up, and they found the hexagonal plates, which are like their dishes. And your body is basically a spaceport for, well, it's actually a whole domain. Now, we've heard that archons and whatever are interdimensional. What we didn't know was that they're highly technological and can shrink themselves or enlarge themselves or make themselves disappear. And they like living inside humans.
Now, the part of the chapter that I'd like to focus on is beginning in verse number 18 there, where it reads, "And he saith unto them, Are ye so without understanding also? Do ye not perceive that whatsoever thing from without entereth into the man, it cannot defile him? Because it entereth not into his heart, but into the belly, and goeth out into the draught, purging all meats. And he said, That which cometh out of the man, that defileth the man. For from within, out of the heart of men, proceed evil thoughts, adulteries, fornications, murders, thefts, covetousness, wickedness, deceit, lasciviousness, an evil eye, blasphemy, pride, foolishness. All these evil things come from within and defile the man. What I want to preach about this morning is the subject of evil thoughts, or that which comes out of the heart of man and defiles the man. You see, when we look at this list of sins that Jesus gives, it pretty much runs the gamut of sin. I mean, we see fornication and adultery, but we also see things like theft and murder. We see covetousness, wickedness, deceit. You know, lying is covered under deceit, blasphemy, pride. I mean, what isn't covered in this list? I mean, there are 13 sins here that he lists that run the spectrum of major sins that people commit. And Jesus said all of these things come from the heart of man. And so what I want to show you this morning through the scripture is that sin begins in our heart, and it begins with evil thoughts in our mind that then lead us to evil actions. He says in verse number 21, "For from within, out of the heart of men, proceed evil thoughts," and then he lists all those other actions that those evil thoughts lead to.